Good evening, and thanks for staying up late with us tonight. I'm Brooke Buckner here with meteorologist Simone Thomas, and tonight lots of Arkansans are recovering after last night's storms. Officials say 3 people have died in Independence County and 32 have been injured across 8 counties. The National Weather Service has confirmed an EF3 tornado 2 in Cave City. Simone, I know we've received a lot of viewer pictures of the storm damage, and it just shows how strong the storms were.
Yeah, and we'll even get to take a look at how many tornado warnings were issued yesterday. But starting out with a better look at that Cave City tornado, like Brooke just mentioned, National Weather Service sent out a survey team today, and here's what we know so far. More details are going to come over the next several days, but Cave City, if you aren't familiar, is right at the border of Sharp and Independence County. So a lot of those injuries reported in Independence County likely associated with this storm. The National Weather Service survey team says they saw data that was conducive to 165-mile-an-hour winds in that tornado, which is a high-end EF3. If it got up to 166, that would have categorized it as an EF4. Now, right now, we don't know the length or the width of the tornado's path. They do say they're going to do additional surveys, but I know tomorrow they're sending out 2 teams to 2 different locations across the state to try to take record or take count of more of those storms that impacted central Arkansas. Here's some of that damage out of Stone County, just a couple counties over in 56 Arkansas, likely associated with another tornado. And here's more damage, all from the same individual that sent this in this morning. This looks like a tree fell over some type of barn or shed structure. Here's a better picture. A tree completely toppled over. That gives you a perspective of how strong those winds must have been in Stone County. Now, this is in south central Arkansas, Clark County. The Bryant family sent us this from Joan, Arkansas. More storm damage likely associated with more tornadoes, and we'll get more details on that over the coming days. But here's a look at all of the tornado warnings that were issued from sunrise yesterday to sunrise this morning. You see, Arkansas pretty much saw the bullseye yesterday, especially in northern and northeastern Arkansas. Now, as we continue through the rest of the weekend, things are going to be a lot quieter. We do have a few showers moving through the state that'll be clearing out after midnight. More details on the next several days are coming up in that 11-day outlook.
Thanks, Simone. And Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders declaring a state of emergency in response to the devastating storms that left multiple counties with extensive damage and power outages. The state of emergency will stay in effect until Sunday, March 29th. This is a look right here at how many are still currently without power. The counties in blue are the ones who are mostly back on the grid. However, the northeastern part of the state still has lots of folks left in the dark. Tonight, the number is dropping and is now around 8,000 for people who are waiting for power to be restored. That number was as high as at least 30,000 last night. A busy Saturday morning in Conway as the mayor delivered the State of the City address. THV 11's Carter Thweet was there and shows us the highlights.
Well, Brooke, Conway is growing, and that's no surprise as it's been Arkansas's fastest growing city each of the past 2 years. Mayor Bart Castleberry tells me that does bring some problems, but it's problems they're happy to have.
So it's important for us to keep moving forward, to keep building this city, and to bring the amenities here that we have the opportunity to bring. The question is, how do we afford it?
That's the question Mayor Bart Castleberry posed to the City Council Saturday morning. His State of the City presentation featured several ways of keeping up with growth, like public safety improvements.
Conway Police Department made major adjustments to officer salaries to retain and recruit. We were losing a lot of good officers.
And improvements regarding entertainment, like the new downtown entertainment district coming to Conway, and recreation. The city recently opened up their new soccer complex and plans to open up the new community center this summer.
It's got indoor and outdoor aquatics, fitness facility, 8 volleyball courts, and yes, we have 12 pickleball courts. Community meeting and event space, party rooms, and room for growth.
The day also featured presentations from many of Conway's department heads, police, fire, transportation, and more. Castleberry telling me he felt it was necessary for the city to hear from these pivotal figures.
But I thought it was important for the public to hear from our department heads to not only give an overview of what they do, but what their needs are for the present and the future.
And they did express some needs, new equipment and staff and projects that need completed. Castleberry says he's not worried.
I like to consider our problems good problems because they're problems with growth, not the lack of growth. It's how fast we are growing and the number of folks that want to move to Conway and live in Conway. So I consider that a good problem to have.
As far as why this meeting was on a Saturday morning, the mayor said due to the length of the meeting, almost 3 hours, he didn't want to have it in the evening and have it be rushed. You can watch the whole thing on the city's Facebook page.
No matter when, no matter what time of day, you will have somebody from our center there to answer that text.
That was Joshua Gonzalez with the Arkansas Crisis Center just last month, talking about the day the new 988 text line launched in Arkansas. And now the online mental health service is already expanding. In the first month of operation, ACC says their text-to-chat program received more than 600 chats, about half of those from people under 18. Because of that, they're increasing the amount of chat crisis counselors.
We knew that we were going to see the increase in youth. We were expecting that, but we weren't expecting to see it go as quick as it did. Our goal is to try to bring in as many chats and texts as possible, so that way we can keep people local and connect those to their local resources.
And even with the expansion here, there will still be a national backup center available, though in-state counselors are preferred because they can point to more localized help. Moving over to crime now, where police say a sex offender is at large, last spotted in Arkadelphia. Last night, police announced a car registered to Randy Watkins was seen in the city 2 days ago, and surveillance footage shows the driver getting out and walking towards I-30. Police say he has dangerous offenses in his past and new warrants out for his arrest. So if you see him, do not approach, just call police. In national news, a congressional measure to fund the government through September is now law after President Trump signed the bill today. The president also announced new military action against the Houthis in Yemen. CBS's Christian Benavidez reports on the latest from Miami.
On Saturday, President Trump signed into law legislation funding the government through the end of September. That ends the threat, for now, of a partial government shutdown. The bill, which divided Democrats, largely keeps government funding at levels set during the Biden presidency. 10 members of the Senate Democratic Caucus helped in the so-called continuing resolution to clear Congress Friday night, despite opposition from within their party.
The CR is a bad bill. But as bad as the CR is, I believe allowing Donald Trump to take even much more power via a government shutdown is a far worse option.
And I appreciate Senator Schumer, and I think he did the right thing. Really, I'm very impressed by that.
Meanwhile, the president wrote on social media Saturday that he ordered a, quote, decisive and powerful military action against the Houthi terrorists in Yemen, saying they have waged an unrelenting campaign of piracy, violence, and terrorism against American and other ships, aircraft, and drones. And there's more potential fallout from President Trump's trade war with Canada. The country's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, asked his defense minister to review the purchase of America's F-35 fighter jet to see if there are other options, given what he called the changing environment. Christian Benavidez, CBS News, Miami.
President Trump is also forging ahead with his administration's large-scale reduction of the federal bureaucracy. Trump directed his administration to reduce the functions of several agencies to the minimum required by law. That includes deep cuts to Voice of America and other government-run pro-democracy radio programming. Meanwhile, protesters rallied in Times Square today to call for the release of activist Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia University graduate who was arrested by immigration and customs enforcement agents on March 8th. Supporters argue Khalil's speech and right to protest is protected under the First Amendment. This is just the latest amongst protests that have been taking place across the city in the week since Khalil's arrest, including a sit-in at Trump Tower that ended with nearly 100 arrests. Crowds were also seen protesting in the streets of Tel Aviv, demanding immediate release of the remaining hostages held in Gaza. However, Hamas says it will only release the hostages if Israel implements their ceasefire agreement. Tonight, there are currently still 59 people being held hostage, with 35 believed to be dead. On Friday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office accused Hamas of psychological warfare. Pope Francis has approved a new 3-year process to consider reforms for the global Catholic Church, a sign the 88-year-old plans to continue on as Pope despite his ongoing battle with pneumonia. Francis has extended the work of the Synod of Bishops, a signature initiative of his 12-year papacy, which has discussed reforms such as the possibility of women serving as Catholic deacons and better inclusion of LGBTQ people in the Church. The approval of a new 3-year process indicated he wants to continue on despite his age and the possibility he might face a long road to recovery from pneumonia given his age and other medical conditions.
Francis is 88, but he's setting up a process that could continue until he is 91, or perhaps even kind of influence, should he die or need to resign in coming years, that could influence the next pope in terms of how the church will go forward and what issues it will continue discussing.
The Synod, which held an inconclusive Vatican summit of bishops on the future of the church last October, will now hold consultations with Catholics across the world for the next 3 years before hosting a new summit in 2028.
After the rain this evening, we're tracking very low humidity values tomorrow with gusty winds prompting some wildfire concerns. Your detailed 11-day outlook is coming up after the break.
And with the weather hopefully clearing up soon, we'll show you some new places you can go to have a really good time, including a new skating rink in Saline County. THB 11 News rolls on after the break.